Hi, I'm Venus of Savagely Curvy Connect, where we bring you events for a curvy world. And today we're doing something we haven't done in a long time called Savage Sessions, where I take a really cool person and I ask them 10 questions and make them slightly uncomfortable sometimes. And then they respond to the questions, and then it's going to be so good. So today I have for you Marci Braithwaite, who is the _fat_ athlete on TikTok. She is one of my mutuals. She is a runner in a larger body. We are not going to say body positivity. We'll address that later in the conversation. And so she's one of my mutuals. And I have probably I'm sure Marci has this thing where you have like maybe 50 people that you sort of see on your FYP, and you not that you get to know them, but it's TikTok and you feel like it's a little family. You're like, oh, there's Marci. I haven't seen her in a while. Let me like her video and leave a comment, blah, 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 because she's awesome and I like her stuff. So in my little mutual family, she just popped up and I think she's awesome, and I asked her to do an interview and she was gracious enough to say yes. And by the way, we have another video we just did where I love TikTok. I love TikTok. I am addicted to TikTok, but I don't know if there's a good addiction, but I just think it's the community of larger bodies that I didn't know that I needed.
Yes, 100%.
I love my mutuals. Like if anyone's sad, I'm like, I just need to come to your house and talk to these people because they're going to treat you the way you deserve to be treated, or else.
Yeah. I love that TikTok has allowed us to have a community like that. I mean, until social media, Instagram, TikTok, and all that stuff existed, I had no idea that there were other people out there that are like me, that look like me, that do the things that I do. And just having that, I mean, people say social media is bad, and there are so many ways that I'm like, no, because it allowed us to connect.
I know, but you know what? So this is what I said in our other video was, I love TikTok. I hate Instagram. No. Let me say that because we have an Instagram page. I feel like Instagram, like TikTok is real to me, and Instagram is a photoshopped version of TikTok on some level.
I also feel like Instagram, and it could just be because I do run my business partially from Instagram in a way, but I do also feel like Instagram has become more business related, more, more corporate in a way. And TikTok seems like a place where I can actually build a community.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like it's a necessary thing. We have to have space on all the platforms, but when I want to relax and have just veg out, I go to TikTok. So
yeah.
All right. Enough about my addiction. So we're going to ask you 10 questions. Some of them are serious. Some of them are not. You answer however you choose to. We probably hopefully more than single word answers. I'm a little wacky. Just so people are watching know, we are not anywhere near each other in terms of location. So I'm a little tired because I've been up since 6:30 or 6 o'clock. So if I'm a little wacky, it's time. Time is happening to me. Okay. So first question. So I mentioned that you are a running coach for larger bodies.
Correct.
So how did you go from being a runner to becoming a running coach?
Are you familiar with Myrna Valerio?
I saw it on your blog, I believe.
Yeah. So Myrna
is the article though.
Yeah, Myrna she's a plus size runner. She has a group called Fat Girl Running, and
she was the Ultraman who was running and answering the question at the same time. Okay.
Yes, exactly. And when I first saw that video with her, it was like my whole world opened up. And when I found out about her group, I joined her group and I started posting in her group. And after a while, this was, I want to say almost 3 years ago now. After a while of posting in her group, there was a situation with some dude who came, snuck into my DMs and was being creepy. And I went to Myrna and was like, hey, can we get this guy kicked out of the group? And she's like, yeah, took care of it. No problem. But I like your vibe. Have you thought about becoming a coach? And I was like, you don't realize what you just said to me, because you are like my idol right now. You are the person that I want to be when I grow up. And you telling me that I should become a coach when there was a part of me that was like, maybe I could, no, nobody will listen to me. She told me I should, and so therefore I did. Oh. So I am now a coach because of Myrna Valerio, 100%.
are you still in contact or in her group, or?
I'm still in her group. I am in contact with her, through social media. We're not like friends, although I would love to be someday.
All right. One of the things I loved about your Instagram and your TikToks is the movement snacks. Can you explain what they are and how you came up with them, or how you discovered them?
Yeah, so movement snacks is just something that I kind of came up with through my work.
So movement snacks are small bites of movement through the day. So even if you just sat at your table, and I think a couple of videos you do kettlebells, you can do I think it was lunges and upward movement. And they're just small. So maybe for 2 minutes or 3 minutes or something like that are what movement snacks are. So I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to make sure people understood.
Yeah, no, that's great. And it's actually, it's a concept that I just kind of came to. I don't remember if I remember Googling the term movement snacks and not seeing anything and thinking I didn't come up with this concept, where, I don't even know where the idea came from really, other than through my work, basically unlearning, the toxic fitness mindset, trying to get out of the, our fitness is all about having to change our bodies. Fitness is about attaining an unrealistic ideal. And in doing all of my research, I realized that mindset is incredibly important when it comes to fitness, especially fitness in a larger body. And then I also realized that there has to be something to focus on when it comes to fitness that's not necessarily shrinking our bodies. And one of those things is being able to develop a movement mindset, where you start realizing that movement, no matter where it happens in the day, counts. Your body knows that you are moving, and movement is beneficial for your body in a zillion different ways. And we get on ourselves so much for not working out, right? For that, we've all heard an hour workout is only 4% of your day. But the thing is, when you have life responsibilities, you have work responsibilities, you have kids and family and cleaning and all of the things that we're expected to do every day, it just makes sense that some days we're not going to have that hour to devote to that movement. But if you are living within a movement mindset and you're doing things like movement snacks in those moments when you have the time to do it, and you're thinking about how could I get movement in at this point, then it becomes easier at the end of the day to go, I moved today. I got my movement in. I did good things for my body, even if it wasn't all in one fell swoop, in 1 hour. And so the movement snacks are just a way for you to really kind of see movement as being part of your daily life.
I really like them. I especially the one where your daughter's late. So you're like, you know what, let me just do some laps around, I guess your house area. Yeah. I mean, you're like, we're just going to what it is, what she's doing, I'm doing what I'm doing. So let me okay. Be comfortable in the body you're in now. I think that was a line from your blog. Mm-hmm. Can you talk to me about so the words I have on the screen are body positivity.
Yeah.
body neutrality journey.
Yes. Okay.
And the next question is, because I think I want people to understand your feelings on why you choose not to use the words body positivity, is going to be the next question.
Awesome. Okay. So can you restate the question for me with the body neutrality piece?
Can you talk about your journey to reach body neutrality?
Okay. So I feel like body neutrality is something that we are all constantly on just reaching for. I don't think it's something that we ever actually arrive at least not in my own experience. And I've been doing this. I mean, I've been trying to come to this acceptance of my body for my entire life. I've been in a fat body for my entire life. And I have come to, again, through all of my research in fat liberation, all of my not research because I'm not a scientist, but reading on fat liberation and understanding how the body is affected by yo-yo dieting, by weight cycling, and all of the things that I've learned have just made me realize that there are a lot of factors that make my body the way it is. And I am not in a fat body simply because I am lazy and I eat all the time, right? There are many, many factors that went into making my body the way it is. And one of research is showing that one of those factors is the fact that since I was 10 years old, I was on diets, constantly trying to reduce my size, lose weight, all of these things that I've done throughout my entire life to shrink my body. Your body fights back. And so coming to body neutrality is really just coming to the acceptance that our bodies are good because they exist. It's the idea that our bodies are worthy because they exist. And we should not value the physical appearance of our bodies. We should value the things that our bodies can do because our bodies are, and we should be thankful for the things that our bodies can do. And so the body neutrality is really just, my body exists, therefore it is worthy. And that's it.
And at what point in your life did you have that epiphany or come to that? Was that a struggle for you? Was it an overnight light bulb or?
No. So
are you okay? Want to take a minute or?
No, so there's a lot of trauma and it's not, I mean, when I say trauma, I don't mean like trauma, but I mean like the effects of being in a larger body throughout my entire life formed who I am. And coming to the realization that my body is good the way it is just because it exists took me at least the last decade of active work to unlearn all of the messaging that told me I wasn't good enough, all of the messaging that told me I wasn't going to make it as a running coach, that nobody would listen to me as a running coach because I'm in a fat body, all of the everything that you're taught from 9 or 10 years old, when you're starting to realize your body doesn't look like what everybody thinks it should look like, and you start getting all of the comments from other people. And so it was a very long journey to unlearn all of those messages that I was telling myself. And even to this day, I'll still look in the mirror and have a bad body day. So that's why I say I don't feel like I'm ever going to arrive at body neutrality, but I'm on a constant journey, and I'm taking the things that I've learned over the last decade, especially, to help inform that journey. And I hope that someday I'll be able to look in the mirror and think everything that I see is good because it exists.
So I'm going to for the people who are watching this video, if you know me, you know I'm a savage. I just don't give a fuck. And my feelings on the whole, whether you call it body neutrality or fat liberation or body liberation, and for those who are supporting the body positivity thing, is that it's one step at a time. It's never going, it's not a sprint. No. And I'm going to be 50 in a year. And I feel like from my TikToks, it seems like I'm a super confident, super embracive of these things. But again, to your point, Mia, I think you're going to be calling.
Yes. Yeah.
You're going to have bad days, right? It's not a one size, you get it one day and it's a snap. You're going to put on the crop top or the bikini or the leggings at the gym and feel like you're the baddest bitch on the streets. And I dare anybody to say anything. And then tomorrow you might be curled up on your couch with the pint of ice cream, like, why do I have this fat roll and stuff? So it is a struggle, but it's one step at a time. And it's a journey that you should stick to and try at your own pace to go through.
That, yes.
So I just wanted to chime in for the people who are looking for some knowledge and support, and you are not alone, and come join the TikTok community. Okay, we're back. All of our social media will be down in the link below if you want to follow us, particularly Marci, and her TikToks, Instagram, Facebook group, website, running, coaching, business, all of that stuff will be down below. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story. I don't know if we were mutuals at this point, but I went to the gym and I'm into I hurt my back really badly at the beginning of the pandemic. and I wanted to strengthen it. And in my head, because I like Pilates, I feel like it should work. I just decided that in my head. And I went to my gym and I just felt like they didn't care. They just were not helpful. And I came out of the gym crying. And in my head, I said, you know what? If this was a TikTok, I would tell you to go back and you tell those mother flippers that you're going to show me these Pilates or you're going to give me my money back or whatever it is. So then I read your blog and I'm going to read you a quote. Even today, after years of being involved in fitness groups, group fitness, classes, gym workouts, and running groups, I still walk into a gym and feel out of place.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to talk about, I guess, about that feeling. Have you overcome it? How do you deal with it? That kind of thing.
Okay. So it's only through the last decade of, convincing myself that I do have the right to take up space, that I can actually go into a gym and just be. I don't go to the gym very often. The last time I went in leggings and a sports bra, and I wore a jacket because it was cold that night, but I took it off when I got in there. I got on the treadmill and I was running in my leggings and a sports bra. And it says a lot about my journey that I was able to kind of repeat this mantra of shoulders back, head up, eyes forward, and just not give a shit about what anybody else had to say about me, my body, whatever judgments they may have had going on in their heads. And the fact that I was able to do this says a lot about my journey. It just says that because I was the type of person, when I was in high school, I took a dance class and there was not a single dance class that I went to where I wasn't wearing a big like windbreaker jacket over my clothes because I didn't want any of my body to be seen. And so it has just been a constant, again, mantra in my head, where I just keep telling myself, I belong here. I deserve to take up space. I pay to go to this gym. I have the same right to be here as every other gym bro who's sitting there and looking at me in the mirror, lifting weights. And, I have every right to be there. And so at this point, I do care what they think. I'd like to not, I do. And I hate that, but it's just something that's going to always be in the back of my head. But I do continuously repeat I belong here. I deserve to be here. I deserve to take up space. Shoulders back, head up, eyes forward. And that's it.
You just got to do it sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to read another quote from your blog. Then I have to ask you, why does health have to be a weapon? What can we change systematically to make it so that fat people don't need to feel like their health stats are a shield? Going to the doctor, what would you like to see change? And just for some context, Marci went to the doctor and all of your blood work was good. And you feel like this is now proof that I'm allowed to be because the doctor has validated that I'm not going to fall over and keel over because all my blood work is good. But why do we have to go through that? Because it really is nobody's business if my blood pressure is 102 or 204. So
right.
Over 1. I don't know. That's probably bad, but anyway.
So
what would you like to see change? What would are your thoughts on that?
I would like the science around fat people to be, first of all, I'd like it to be studied more. I'd like women, fat people, people of color, all of these are historically marginalized and oppressed by doctors and the healthcare system. You know this, I'm sure. And it's really a matter of the fact that it's been white men who have been doctors for the past 100 and some years. All of the studies have been about white men. The BMI is based on white men. We need to be studied. We need to be studied. We need to know what is going on in our fat bodies. We need to know what it is that is, are there actually any reasons that fat bodies should be feared or should be stigmatized in any way or should be changed in any way? there's a lot of science that is coming out right now that is telling us that there is no medical condition that only fat people have. All of the conditions that fat people have that we often get stigmatized for are conditions that thin people have as well. And we just need doctors to get with the times, and we need doctors to stop stigmatizing their patients and acting as if when we walk in the door with a broken thumb that our problems are all based on our weight. So I really just would like to see doctors stop treating fat people as if fat is our problem, and actually start seeing us, seeing our conditions, treating us as if we were thin people. And that's one thing that I tell people all the time. If you go into the doctor and you are in a fat body and your doctor tells you first you need to lose weight, you need to say, okay, if I were a thin person, what would your course of treatment be? And if you ask that, if you advocate for yourself, there's a much better chance of you actually getting the care that you need. And sadly, a lot of us don't. And there are many, many stories of fat women, especially, who have died or who have had conditions that have gotten worse to the point of not being able to get better because all they received was, you just need to lose weight, when a thin person walking in would have gotten treatment for that condition.
Yes. I feel like that's a whole nother video.
Yeah.
I don't think I have it as a question, but I do want to mention, because I'm sure that there's some trolls out there who, let me also be clear, if you're watching the video, I'll block you in a heartbeat. So don't dance with the devil. No. So one of the things that I liked, and I don't know where I saw it, was you mentioned that in the 12 years that you've been running, I think it's 12 years or maybe 13 by now.
Almost 14 as of April.
Oh, okay. It was 14. In the 14 years that you've been running. So I'm going to set this up. So you don't have to tell me the number of what you weigh if you're not comfortable with that. But I want to know, how much of a change has there been since you started till now? Because that just blew. I don't want to say I cheered, but I was like, well, okay, well, hey, we just gonna put some facts out in the world, aren't we? So yeah. What was your weight change or difference from year 1 till year 14?
So the interesting thing is, I started running to lose weight. That was the whole reason I started running almost 14 years ago, April 1st. And I did that because of an encounter with a doctor who told me that I was never going to lose weight if I didn't get weight loss surgery. And there's a whole story there too. But what it comes down to is, when I started running, I also started restricting my food. And over a period of about 8 months, I lost 80 pounds. Or no, it was 9 months. I lost 80 pounds. And I got down to the lowest I've ever been in my adult life, which was around 204 pounds, I think was what I hit originally. It took me until the pandemic to very, very slowly gain back about 60 of those pounds. At this point, I don't know what I weigh. I haven't weighed myself in at least 6 months, if not longer. But I know it's over 270. But honestly, even over the year that I trained to run my marathon, running 40 miles per week, which was running 5 days a week, I still never got below 264 pounds when I ran that marathon. And
so let me be clear. Okay. So let me just be clear. So you are higher than you used to be.
Yep.
Running more than most people of any size. Yep. And are still the size that you are. And you have clean blood work, because we have the shield to fight the people off, the trolls in the comments. Right. That you are probably better, more healthy and more active than a good chunk of the population at any size. Let me just okay.
Yeah, I know it's like you said, I don't like using my health stats as a shield, but honestly, it is the shield. It's that, when the trolls come at me and say, well, I just care about your health. I am doing healthy things, for God's sake. I eat amazing, healthy foods. I love my raw vegetables and I eat tons of them throughout the day. I run as often as I can. I do movement snacks all day long. My blood work, my last blood pressure was something like 110/68. And she said that 120/70 was perfect. And I'm like, so why is it that I have such an issue? Why is it that people have such an issue that I exist in this body when I'm doing all the things that thin people do and they don't get shit that I get? You know,
It's just hate. It's just
Yeah.
hate.
Yeah.
It's just like, I think the other day I was I don't know if I put a TikTok out, but I was just like, if everyone in the world minded their own business, it would be so much more peace. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need you to, and I think if you people just minded their own business, it would save my life. It would save a lot of us a lot of aggravation and tears for no reason that there needs to be. But I also feel like, and this is why I love TikTok. So, you know, on TikTok, there's always the hate trolls. And I think you responded to one of them just here lately. I'm not going to even mention or link or anything. I fell in the trap and I know I responded. And then I put up a post like, okay, we're not going to give them engagement. But I'm just thinking like, I don't want to make people to try and get famous off of my sadness, off my tears. And that's what it feels like a lot of times.
Yeah.
I need to get some TikTok engagement or Instagram engagement. Let me be concerned about fat people, because that's a thing. That I don't know if it feels like the check box of hate. I don't like Black people. Here's some fat people. Oh, no, actually, fat people aren't a protected class. That's my opinion. So I can attack you because it's not really racist or sexist exactly. So, and I'm only concerned about your health. So I'm giving you the fake concern.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I might be venting. We're gonna bring it back. Oh, go ahead.
No. I mean, I could vent too. I mean, there's a big, one of my big pet peeves is the people who think that it's important to me that I'm attractive to them. Like that, I don't understand why people assume that I want to be attractive to them. Like, why do you think I've been married to my husband for 20 years now. I've been with a very handsome and amazing human being and father, and I absolutely do not need to be attractive to anybody else. You don't know me, you don't know my life. You don't need to expect that I want you to want to fuck me, you know. I don't care about any of that. And so I'm going to exist in my body, and you can give me the engagement on social media. I will take the engagement, but I'm not going to engage with you.
Yes, I be mad and I need to stop, and I don't need to not be so mad. Yeah. I'm going to read the quote. We've already sort of touched on the whole gym thing, but this made me sort of laugh. I asked a gym manager if they had hired any size inclusive or healthy at any size informed fitness instructors. Also, hold on. Let me finish reading this. Or had made strides to help people in larger bodies feel more welcome at their gym. The response was, our average member is overweight, so many of our classes consist of larger size men and women. There are several things wrong with this statement. And also, let me say, I go to Lifetime, which is an overly expensive gym. And one of the things that I hate is that there's only one Zumba class where the instructor actually makes it low impact. And cares about the people in the class, whether they're small or big. She'll go and get you on beat and help and make sure you have doable steps. And also, it's probably one of the it's one of those classes that you got to get there a good 20 minutes early to make sure you have a space, because it's just so packed, and we all make space for everybody. And so I read that statement because if gyms would actually cater to people of all sizes, the amount of money they could make.
I know. And I just, when that gym owner said that to me, I was like, okay, there's a difference between having fat people in your gym. And I don't use the word overweight mainly because what weight, what weight are you over? But having fat people in your gym is different from inviting fat people into your gym. Inviting fat people into your gym is doing things like putting up pictures on the walls that include people in larger bodies, hiring fat people to work the front desk, hiring fat people to teach your fitness classes, hiring fat people to be personal trainers, including fat people in this industry that is so exclusionary to people in larger bodies is the way that you bring in those dollars into your industry. But they don't. And there was a time when I got a comment from somebody who said, why would I hire somebody who's in a fat body when my whole goal in fitness is to not be fat? And I'm like, you just hit on the issue, is that the goal in fitness should be movement. The goal in fitness should be mobility. It should be flexibility. It should be continuous, excuse me. It should be being able to be a mover for as long as possible throughout your life. It shouldn't be trying to adhere to a visual standard. And that's the problem with our fitness industry, is that it's all about meeting that unattainable idea.
So you, as part of your, I guess, coaching journey, you become a certified USATF certified coach. Can you speak to what that means, how you get the certification?
Yeah. So I have two certifications and one, it's not really a certification, but so my first certification was through USATF. It's basically a track and field certification. And it's a simple, you take a course over a weekend, you pass a test and you get your certification. Excuse me. And it was the same with RRCA. So USATF is the United States Track and Field Association. And that was a little bit of running, but also a lot of track events and things. And I did that one first because that was the first one that was available to me at the time. And I got that and was like, okay, there wasn't enough running instruction in this. I feel, great that I've got the certification, but I need something that's more specific to running. So that's when I got my second certification with RRCA, the Roadrunners Club of America. And again, weekend class, take a test and pass it. And that combined with my almost 14 years of running experience is what I base my coaching around. I am not the kind of coach who's going to get you to the Olympics. I am the kind of coach who's going to teach you how to love running. And through my certifications, I've learned enough about biomechanics and, things like periodization in terms of creating plans for running training plans. And I also have my size inclusive fitness specialist certification as well, which is through Louise Green. And that is where I learned a lot about how to make fitness spaces more inclusive of larger bodies. So my 3 certifications all just kind of came together over the course of about, I want to say 3 months. And I felt like all 3 of them kind of created a really nice, well-rounded background for my coaching.
Okay, cool. I don't think I'm gonna. So I have all these quotes from your blog, and I feel like I'm like quoting you and reading the whole blog at this point. So we're gonna save some surprises for the people. Okay, so here we go. So on your blog that I've quoted, there's a story of a person named Carrie who couldn't participate due to asthma, but she kept going. And you blogged about how you were impacted with the idea that this person she couldn't, I guess, physically do it or because of her asthma, but she was still going to continue with the classes. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So my whole philosophy is that I tell my clients this, my athletes this on the first day of my courses, running is my thing. It may not be your thing. My goal is to teach you to love movement. And if running becomes your thing, that's great. We can continue this running relationship. But if not, stick around with me anyway, because I am not just a runner. I'm also a mover, and I can help you develop a relationship with movement in general. And so Carrie's experience just it's indicative of a lot of experiences in the fitness world. You get an injury, you're not able to continue doing a particular activity that you maybe enjoy doing or, have done for a long time. And so as someone who is a mover, someone who wants to move their bodies, no matter what it may look like, they still have the opportunity to participate and involve themselves in my programs, even if they're not actually doing the running. And the way that I do that is through the movement snacks. And I teach them different ways that they can incorporate movement snacks. And that's just, I want them to know that they are welcome as movers, not just as runners, because yes, I am a running coach. Yes, that is what I do. It's what I love, but I want people to develop a better relationship with their bodies and with their movement and become consistent movers through whatever movement feels good and joyful to them.
Okay. Sounds cool. I like that. We're going to read that at the end. So this is going to open up we don't open up all the cans at this point. So you talk about some of the running clubs and your experiences not being having some challenges, I guess, in those things. And then I'm not sure where social media I saw it on, and you were like, they have for the larger runners, they have the Clydesdale and the Athenas, which just seems like shenanigans to me, that I would want to be in the Clydesdale group.
Right.
Who thought that was a good plan? Where do people, you know what? We're going to have a meeting on what we should call these group of runners that are in larger bodies. And the optimal name, the only thing that we can come up that we think we want to put down on writing and print, we're going to call these people Clydesdales. That is the best thing that we could possibly come up with.
It's not that bad, because the Clydesdales are only the men. It's the Athenas that are the women.
Oh,
it's not any better. It's not any better.
Isn't that the goddess of someone? Isn't that sort of okay?
Yeah, I mean, it's only better because she's a goddess and she is a woman, and I mean, let's not include non-binary people.
Why do they have a whole separate?
So
Talk to me about running clubs. Let me understand the shenanigans here. Okay.
Yeah. So this is a classic case of impact versus intent, I think. But so the categories start at what is, I guess, at the time was considered the higher end of competitiveness for weight of the running community, I guess. So they start, depending on the race, the categories for the Athena, which is the female category, and that starts between 145 and 160, depending on the race and the running, the race organizer and all that stuff. And for men, it starts anywhere between 200 and 220 pounds. And basically what you end up seeing is that the people who are not elite, who aren't necessarily going to place within their age groups, are going to run in the Athena category. That means they're no longer eligible to place in the race in their own age groups, but they can place within this larger body categories. What you end up seeing is it's just all the tall people because it's all the tall people who weigh 145 pounds, like 5'10", 5'9", 5'10", who weigh 145 pounds, who are the fastest runners, who are actually placing in these categories, not people who are actually in larger bodies. Now, yeah, to be fair, I did place second in my age group at one race, but that was because there were only 3 people in my age group, and it was a very small race. So it is possible that even slower runners can place at their race in a race, whether they're in these Athena and Clydesdale categories or not. But it was started originally because they wanted to make competitive racing more inclusive of larger bodies. What I don't think they anticipated was that people in larger bodies are becoming more into running. And at this point, it's still all thin people who are placing in these categories. So, I'm not sure that, because there are people in larger bodies who are fast runners. I've run a mile in 9 minutes, which at times has been faster than even some of my very thin friends. But I'm not sure how those categories make it any more accessible to larger bodies to feel comfortable competing in a race, or even participating. There are ways that race directors can make races more inclusive and welcoming for people in larger bodies, but those categories aren't it.
What ways would you make it more inclusive?
I love that question. So the number one way, and this is something that I actually need to take to some of the race directors that I know personally.
Wait, is this some secret thing you want to patent or copyright or trademark or okay?
No, I'm not sure how I could do that. No, honestly, it's just a matter of, so race directors, they bring on volunteers for these races that they do, right? And the reason that they say a cutoff for this race has to be this time is because they have volunteers who can only work a certain number of hours or whatever. My recommendation is that they take the volunteers that they have, split them up into separate shifts, basically. And so they have a shift that works in the morning, a shift that works in the afternoon, and a shift that works into the evening, especially for larger races, so that the runners, all the runners, no matter how fast or slow they may be, have a longer cutoff time and can feel like they belong, don't have to be followed by the frickin' ambulance, don't have to feel like they don't belong because they happen to be at the back of the pack, don't have to feel like they're rushed or not, or that they, you know, are being punished because they're slower when the volunteers are packing up the tables and all of the drinks and the, you know, the fuel and everything while they're actually running the race. You know, there just needs to be a way that we can extend the race cutoff periods. That's one of the biggest exclusionary tactics of races in general, is just that the cutoffs aren't inclusive enough of the people who want to join the races.
Okay, it's shenanigans. A whole lot of shit. A whole lot of gang shit, as my partner Shan would say. Okay. I think we have come to, I'm going to read this, and I, as earlier said, that I just basically be quoting the blog. I'm not even really doing an interview at this point, but I'm going to read it. You can comment if you choose to, but I want the people to hear your words. So there. I'm so aggressive for no reason. Through running, I stopped hating my body and learned to love what I can do. I stopped judging myself based on distance and pace, and instead turned that energy toward helping others to do the same. I stopped hating and doubting and started accepting and then celebrating this larger body that doesn't look like every other runner's body out there. Because this body is a runner's body. 12 years ago, I stepped outside and started a very long journey, and it's nowhere near over. So I just needed people to hear that. So
hearing you say that, I'm like, I wrote that.
Blog is deep. It's deep, so deep. It took me like I think 2 days to really get through and figure out what I wanted to take. I have big chunks. It's like I can't just read the whole blog because that's not going to work. So let's not play that. Let's not plagiarize the whole situation. All right, we're gonna have a fun time. We have 2 questions left. You've made it to the bonus rounds. Thank you for hanging in there. I know it's not late for you, but it's late for me. My shenanigans, and I'm just crazy out here threatening people on the internet. Okay. So we have 2 questions that I usually ask. The first one is Apple or Android. This is irrelevant. It's just something fun at the end I like to do.
Android. My husband is in tech. Yeah, my husband's in tech, and he was upset when I had to bring home a laptop from my. Well, I'm a teacher in my day job, and we were assigned Mac laptops, and
really?
He was not happy. Yeah.
You're kind of.
We have iPads. All of our kids have iPads.
They're not bad.
No, I mean, you know, they're usable, and I've been working with them for probably 8 years now, that I've been teaching with iPads, and you know, they have their good points, but I am much more of an Android gal. So
we're gonna keep going, but we may have an additional bonus question if you can hang in there after this. Okay. So actually, let me ask it, because the other question is a fun question. So did you see the TikTok about the teacher who quit and now works at Costco? And she feels like it went viral and it was all over. So let me just take a moment. So I find that I'll watch something on TikTok. Let's say I watch it on Monday. Watch it on TikTok and my everyday regular scrolling, not paying it the least bit of attention. And I think because TikTok is a community, whether you're in teacher talk or mom talk or fat girl talk or whatever it is, there is still some key accounts that you will see if they get big enough, right? So we'll see them, you like, you comment, you go on about your business. Then about 2 or 3 weeks later, no, I'm gonna say 2 weeks later, I'll see it on Instagram in somebody else's reel. And then it'll end up on Facebook and maybe go viral. And then I'll see it mentioned on the news like a month later after it's already been talked about on TikTok to death because we done heard about it and y'all late. And I need y'all to just catch up. I love TikTok. I need to stop. Okay. Okay. So this was a woman who said she had just finished. She was working winter vacation, what would have been her winter vacation at Costco. And she was saying how she didn't miss having the winter break because her winter break essentially just was the recovery to go back to school. She didn't actually really consider it a vacation during the winter break. And she was happy to be working during it because Costco meant that when she left work, she closed the door. She wasn't grading papers. She didn't deal with parents. She could go to work. She could come back and she didn't have to deal with it. And she wasn't burnt out.
Yep.
So I know you mentioned you're a teacher. I could work that out if you don't want people to know.
It's fine.
But I mean, what are your thoughts on that if you have any?
So, okay. So first of all, I do have students who follow me. They found me on TikTok. I've ended up on their For You page. And I tend to keep my TikToks fairly innocuous for that reason. But I 100% identify with that creator. Because I mean, if I just look at this winter break, it took me the entire first week of recovery to be able to even get to the point where I could stop shaking because of anxiety, before I would go to, it's not great out here as a teacher. I love my job. I love those kids. I love teaching 8th grade. I love teaching math. There are a lot of great things that are going on in this profession. There's also a lot of compassion fatigue. There's a lot of burnout. And overall, I mean, everyone I work with knows that I'm exhausted and that if I ever do go viral and am able to make enough money in my TikTok world, I'm done. I mean, and I'm looking into other options because teaching is just so exhausting. Like I said, I love it, but I am ready to find something else that does not take up so much of my heart and my emotions and my brain. And I've been teaching for 20 years. I've made it 20 years and I feel like
you're over it.
Yeah.
And that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
But are you ready to retire or just not teach?
Okay. No, I'm ready to not teach. I'm ready to teach, but on my own terms. And that's where this coaching thing comes in. And I'm currently working with a marketing coach so that I can actually build my business to the point that I might be able to just transition into coaching out of teaching. But it's not something that's going to happen in the near future. It's just something that I have to work towards. And so I'm at a transitional period in my life. And as much as I do love everything that I do in teaching, I'm ready to take it in a different direction and do it on my own terms because I love teaching. I love educating people. I love working with people and even with kids, but the education system is so broken. There's so many ways. I mean, Florida.
I'm not going to comment because we're going to be here a whole nother hour. So we're just gonna bring it back.
Yeah.
Here's one more. I actually do have 2 more questions, and I promise to wrap this up. So you did a TikTok. On your blog, you posted did a review, I think, of 5 athletic outfits, and you had posted your criteria that it had to be inclusive, it had to have pockets, it had to have a couple other things, and then I think you did a sponsorship. I've seen you post some things on your TikTok. So what are yours right now? Because I think your blog might be a little older. What are your top 2 go-to athletic apparel brands?
So I'm currently wearing.
Feel free to sponsor her. Just putting that out there.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you want to sponsor me, I'm cool with that. But I'm currently wearing Off Athletics. My favorite workout gear for just indoor workouts is Fabletics. This is a Fabletics sports bra that I would use for my weightlifting or yoga or indoor workouts of any kind. I love their, there's a brand of Fabletics style of running leggings that are compressive and they stay put and they are amazing for running. And I am addicted to Fabletics at this point. The other thing that I am also addicted to, mainly because I've been dealing with a foot injury for like 2 years now, I'm finally getting back into running the way that I'm used to. And the only way I've been able to do that is because of Hoka shoes. And so my Hoka shoes, my Fabletics outfits, everybody always comments on my outfits because I'm always very colorful. And that's, you know, it's my goal. I spent a lot of time as a kid and even as an adult trying to hide my body and hide who I was. And my best friend one day said, "You wear an awful lot of black for as colorful a personality as you have." And I was like, oh shit, she's right. And so at that point, I started changing everything about the clothes that I wear. And you can see this is like a reptile print gold leaf sports bra and leggings set that matches. And that's just who I am. So Fabletics and Hoka are my two main brands.
You just gotta be who you are. Just be who you are, internet. Just
Yeah.
be. Okay, this is actually the final question that I've said that 4 questions ago. All right, so here we are. So I don't know TikTok. Hold on. I don't know what your gender preferences are. So if we need to change the people to suit the question, we can. So we're going to say The Rock or Idris Elba. But if that is not your preference of people, you can change it to 2 other options, or I will give you 2 other options. But if you're okay picking from those 2, you can pick from those 2, but you need to tell me why.
So I generally, I'm pretty open when it comes to gender preferences, but I am married to a man and I kind of like him a lot. So I'm going to go with that question. And I'm going to have to say Idris Elba, because Idris Elba, just because, but also The Rock. I mean, The Rock is far too obsessed with his body and spends far too much time in the gym for him not to be a almost narcissist, but I feel like he hides it really well. That's my opinion on The Rock. And I know everybody loves him, and that's a
I guess my thinking is his body is his selling point.
Right, exactly. But I also feel like if you're going to make your body your selling point, you kind of have to be obsessed with it in a way.
Probably.
And yeah, and I feel like there's like, just as someone who has been like, who has felt like my body was such a bad thing for so long, I feel like somebody that is that obsessed over their body and the perfection of that body is someone that I'm not going to get along with. You know?
No, you don't like them. It's bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, so I'm all about Idris Elba.
Team Idris, yeah. We're here. Okay. That is my last question. As I promised, after the 4 that I said was the last question.
We never really did talk about body positivity, though.
About why you don't like that term? Son
Yeah.
of a biscuit.
Yeah.
That was not the last question. We're back.
Yeah.
Better than ever with more questions. Why do you not like the term body positivity? I thought we covered that. Maybe because I know what the answer is, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's honestly, it's because I want to honor the fat black women who started the body positivity movement that was co-opted by corporations and made into another version of the thin ideal. And it's fat liberation, body liberation, body positivity all started with women who were fighting for justice, for their rights, for their existence. And body positivity has just become something different. It's thin white women who are sitting there and squeezing their stomachs together so they can develop some kind of fat roll. And it's not what most of us look like. It's not what most of us should try to be. And I feel like we need to be working on that body neutrality, body liberation road.
I agree. That was a good end. I like that part. So that brings us to an end. Is there anything that you would like to say about your business or any thoughts that you'd impart? Are you okay?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you inviting me into this space. I have programs that start up about every 8 weeks, which are inclusive running instruction programs, but they also teach you just how to build a mindset around movement. And even if running doesn't become your thing, I like to make connections with people and just invite them into my group, All Bodies Belong, which actually at the end of the month is going to become the movement mindset. And so that is the main space that I occupy. And I invite everybody to join me there so that they can learn more about what I'm all about.
Yay. Well, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you doing this. This was awesome. I had a good time.
Same.
I'm always a little nervous about these things, and I haven't done one since before times, since before COVID. So, but for everybody who's watching, if you have any questions for Marci or about her group, or that you want a link, everything will be down below. Make sure you leave a comment about movement, or if you have any questions. We love it when you subscribe. Subscribing is super awesome. We love it so much. Thank you for watching, and have a great day, and bye.